Let's carry on, shall we? If you have not seen the previous videos, what are you doing with your life? Go and watch them. This is a direct continuation, and this is what we want to have. This is not what we finished before in the previous videos. This is what we want to achieve too. So these four machines. So this guy, that guy, we already have them had them pretty much working as expected. So if I go here to PC1, I can ping PC2. I'm sorry, I skipped a dot. 2, and everything's fine. So everything is where we left off. PC1 pings PC2, PC3 pings PC4, but VLAN 2 and VLAN 3 do not ping one another. This is not what I want for this video yet. What I want to do is to add PC5 and add PC6, which I have done. So where is PC5? Here it is. You guys can see that. Yes, you can. So let's do show IP. As you can see, it's on PC5. It's at the 2 VLAN. Okay. And PC6 should be here. Not here, but here. Not here. Where is PC6? Hello. There it is. So PC6 is on VLAN 3. So PC5 is at VLAN 2, PC6 in VLAN 3, which means that PC6 should ping PC3, for example. So let's where is my PC6? Where is he? Where is my PC6? Here it is, and he should be able to ping PC3, which is ping 10.333. Which he cannot. Why not? Why is PC3 not pingable? I have tested this out. Let's do a show IP. And why cannot, I know the cause, this is just for you to find out. Why cannot PC6 ping PC3 even though it's on VLAN 3? So PC6 has a 10.333 IP address, let me show you. So PC6 has a 133 IP address, which is from the VLAN 3, all right? So why is not PC6 able to ping PC3 even though it's on the same VLAN? Well, two main reasons. First, these two switches are not connected yet, and switch 2, it's still yet to be configured, okay? So let's check PC, let's check that switch, which should be this one there. Let's see, this is switch 1. So this is switch 2, okay? So switch 2, it's a new switch that was just introduced on the network, so it's not configured. So we need to put this interface on the Ethernet on VLAN 2, and this one here on VLAN 3. So let's configure both VLANs. Conf-t VLAN 2 name VLAN 2. Cool. And VLAN 3 name VLAN 3. Okay, let me just stop here. Cool. Yeah, so both are nicely configured and they look pretty nice. Let's just double check. Show VLAN brief. And they exist. Now let's put, why do they give a space? I don't like spaces. This is just a pet peeve of mine. Giving spaces should not be a problem, but I don't like them. I don't like the spaces, I mean. So let's save this. Cool. Yeah. Cool. Now, let's put this interface on VLAN 2 and this one on VLAN 3. So interface Ethernet 0/0 switch port mode access. Switch port access VLAN 2. Now we go to that one, switch port mode access VLAN 3. Cool. Now, one thing to add is that PC6 will not ping PC3 yet, just because these switches are not interconnected. Physically, they're not interconnected. So let's get the connection. Let's configure a connection here. So let's connect 1/0 to 1/0 of this one. The interfaces don't need to match, but it just makes my life a little bit easier so that they match. So which means that one show interface status. Interface status. So this one should match the other one. So where is he? There it is. Show int status. Okay, and they immediately show as trunk. I'm going to explain you why that's the case. Show CDP neighbor. And there we go. They can see one another. So this physical connection here, it's working properly, and they have to be trunks, and that's correct. To be a trunk, it's what we want, and they are automatically a trunk. And if I do show run, you see that there is nothing there telling them to make a trunk. So there is no trunk configuration enabled. Let's put them both side by side. Let's put switch 2 there, switch 1 there. Why is my mouse scratching? I hate this. Okay. So let's get them side by side. And as you can see, come on, why is the mouse pad scratching? Jesus, there's a small piece of dust. Okay, and I use hard mouse pads. I don't like soft ones. Okay, come on, still there. This annoys me quite a bit. Anywho, yeah, let's carry on. Cool. So there is no configuration here that's telling our switches to make a trunk. There's nothing there. But if you have studied our materials, so it's 1/0. So you know that Cisco has, some people like it, some people hate it, an automatic trunk negotiation protocol, which is DTP, dynamic trunking protocol, that it's in some cases auto-enabled, in some cases is not, and in this case it's clearly auto-enabled. So I just connected the cable. Interface status, and it's just there. So if I do show interfaces trunk, it's clearly trunking, and DTP it's enabled for sure because mode shows as desirable. Okay, and I'll show you something also here. So interfaces trunk. Okay, so they both show desirable mode. Desirable means that they are actively trying to be a trunk, so they both actively try to be a trunk, so they are actively trying, they meet in the middle, and everybody agrees to be trunk, and that's why we have a trunk even though we have not tried it. Okay, I don't want this to be automatic. I want to make this something I'd make the decisions. So I'm going to, on the first one, and I'm going to do a shutdown. Conf T interface Ethernet 1/0. Okay, and I'm going to make a manual configuration. You don't have to make the shutdown. Okay, shutdown is not needed, but I like to make to start with the shutdown, to make a fresh start, so to speak, to disable anything that it's just left over. And I just do switch port mode trunk. There we go. So switch port encapsulation. Switch port trunk encapsulation.1q. Most of you guys probably don't know why I'm doing this, but there are two main trunking protocols, .1q and ISL. ISL means inter-switch link. It's a Cisco protocol. It makes no sense nowadays to use ESL, and this quote-unquote error message that says it's auto need to be configured to a non-auto mode. So you just do encapsulation and choose your encapsulation type. .1q is what we want nowadays, and that should be fixed. Now mode trunk. So if I do encapsulation here and I put a question mark, you see that you have .1q and ISL and negotiate. Some switches by default are at negotiate, so a kind of a dynamic state. So you want to make the encapsulation static to .1q. You can't use ISL between Cisco switches. So ISL, it's a Cisco proprietary protocol. But nowadays it makes little to no sense to use ESL. .1q is kind of what you want to use, which is kind of a generic industry standard protocol. Okay, switch port trunk encapsulation .1q. Switch port mode trunk. Okay. And we could add a filter like switch port trunk allowed, and you can set the filter to allow some VLANs. So here I could allow only these two VLANs to go through because that's the ones we need. But for now, I will not create any filters, but we could allow only the VLANs that we actually want to go out to allow, disallowing VLAN 1, for example. Well, I can do that. Switch port trunk allowed VLANs, and I'm going to say just 2 and 3. So I'm going to omit VLAN 1, which means that VLAN 1 will not go through, which sometimes people actually like. And we should be good to go. We just do no shutdown. So VLAN 1 is not allowed to go through because we know that VLAN 1 it's not very good to be kind of out and about in the wild. We wait a little bit, looks fine. So just save. In the exam, avoid using the WR. Okay, just do the copy running config startup config. If you're doing the exam, avoid WR because sometimes they kind of don't like it. So I'm just using WR just to make things a little bit snappier. Cool. Now show interfaces trunk. And now I have trunking mode on. It's just static, no desirable stuff. .1q. VLANs allowed are 2 and 3. Show interfaces trunk. On, no desirable stuff, just static. .1q, 2 and 3. Looks good. Now let's see if, for example, PC6 pings PC4 now. So where is my PC6? PC6 would be right here. No, this is PC5. This is PC6. So now the ping that was not working should work now. There we go. But I will not be able to ping VLAN 2 yet. So let's ping 2.2.2.2.1. So it's not pinging again because I'm on LAN on Subnet IP address I1033. I cannot ping 10.2.2 because there is no routing in place still. So what have we done? We have enabled these two interfaces to be on their corresponding VLANs. This guy is on VLAN 2. This guy is on VLAN 3. Okay, and we configure the ports accordingly and the subnets on the PCs accordingly. We configure this to be a trunk and allowing only VLANs 2 and VLANs 3 to go through. And it's a manual trunk, so I'm not trusting the automatic DTP mambo jambo. So it's a trunk that I decide and I control. And it's very good. Just remember, if new VLANs show up, for example, if VLAN 4 or VLAN 5 kind of pops, I need to remember to enable the filter to allow those VLANs if I want them to go through this trunk. If I wanted to go through this trunk, I need to allow them. I know it's a little bit more work, but it's a one-time thing, and things just get more clean and more safe and more by design and more well done as they should be done. If you have any questions, ask them down below. I'm very, very happy to answer any questions. I'm very happy to engage with the community that we have been growing. Thanks for the likes and subscriptions. We are almost at 1.1k at the time of this recording. Keep them coming. I love you guys that I call my big beautiful bastards. Like, subscribe, and hype to get notified of more Cisco stuff and more Linux stuff. I'm going to keep pumping them out for you guys. Once again, like, subscribe, and hype. It really helps. And I'll see you in the next one. Cheers, guys.